My friends, there comes a moment in every life when the weight of waiting becomes heavier than the burden of doing. Too many of us are standing at the bus stop of destiny, waiting for someone else to drive us into our future. We keep hoping for a miracle, a savior, or a sign. But let me tell you the truth that transforms. No one is coming to save you. History has never been shaped by those who waited. It has been shaped by those who moved. Ordinary men and women who refused to sit still while life passed them by. A farmer in a small village who dared to believe that his hands could feed nations. A young woman who grew up with nothing but used books and burning curiosity, yet rose to lead in science and technology. A boy from the wrong side of the tracks who decided his story would not end where it began. They were not the strongest, they were not the wealthiest, but they pushed themselves when no one was clapping, when no one was watching, when no one believed. And because they pushed, the world shifted. Listen to me carefully, perseverance is not glamorous. It is lonely. It is early mornings and late nights. It is rejection. It is tears you wipe away before anyone sees. But perseverance is the womb of greatness. It is the furnace that refines your character until you are ready to carry the weight of your purpose. You see, change doesn't begin with governments or leaders. It begins with a decision, your decision. The decision to rise one more time after failure. The decision to discipline your mind when distraction calls. The decision to build a future not only for yourself, but for generations you will never meet. My heart aches when I see people waiting for opportunity, waiting for help, waiting for the perfect time. But time does not wait for you. Life will not pause until you feel ready. The perfect time will never come. You must move now. I say to you today, push yourself, push beyond your excuses, push beyond the comfort that is quietly killing your potential, push beyond the fear that whispers you're not enough. For in every man and woman lies a reservoir of untapped strength, creativity, and resilience that will never be discovered until it is demanded of you. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for applause. Do not wait for someone to rescue you. Rescue yourself. Step into the arena of life with all that you are and all that you have. And when you feel tired, when you feel unseen, when you feel like quitting, remember this: you are not alone in the struggle. You stand among millions who dared to push, who dared to believe, who dared to create a tomorrow brighter than today. So rise, persevere, believe, act, because destiny is not given, it is taken, and the future will belong to those who refuse to wait for it. My friends, hear me. No one is coming to save you. Push yourself, because the life you dream of, the future you long for, and the impact you were born to make, it begins with you, and it begins today. There is a truth that every man and every woman must confront at some point in their life. Destiny does not wait. Life does not pause until you are ready. Time does not hold back its ticking so you can feel more comfortable, more prepared, or more confident. Every moment you hesitate, every hour you postpone, every day you delay, destiny moves forward. Think about it. The sun rises whether you set your alarm clock or not. The seasons change whether you are prepared for winter or not. Children grow into adults whether their parents are ready or not. That is how destiny works. It has its own schedule, its own rhythm, its own urgency. And when you waste time waiting for the right conditions, life does not wait for you. Many people live as if they have an unlimited balance of time in their account. They assume tomorrow is guaranteed, next week is promised, and next year is secure. But destiny doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't linger at your doorstep while you figure out your courage. The door of life opens, and if you hesitate too long, it closes again. I want you to imagine a train station. At that station, trains are coming and going, each one representing a chance, a possibility, a season in your life. Some people stand at the platform holding their bags but never step into the train. They keep saying, I'll take the next one. Maybe the next one will be more comfortable. Maybe the next one will wait for me. And soon the platform is empty. The trains are gone, and the chance to move forward has been missed. Destiny doesn't wait. It requires you to move when the moment comes. Even if you feel unqualified, even if you feel afraid, even if you feel unprepared, when the train of opportunity arrives, you must step on. The greatest mistake people make is believing that preparation must come before action. But the truth is, action is the greatest preparation. You learn more by doing than by waiting. You grow stronger by stepping out, not by standing still. Destiny honors those who move with courage, not those who wait for perfect conditions. Think about history. The men and women who changed the world were not the ones who sat back waiting. They were the ones who moved, often in uncertainty, often without all the answers. A young man named Martin Luther King Jr. did not wait until the whole nation agreed with him before he spoke. He stood up, he raised his voice, and his movement shook the world. Destiny didn't wait for him to feel ready. He stepped into it trembling but determined. Consider a young woman named Malala Yousafzai. She was only a girl when she decided that her voice mattered, even when people told her to remain silent. She did not wait until she was older, stronger, or safer. She spoke, and the world listened. Destiny doesn't wait, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't wait for the rich, the educated, or the powerful. It comes to all of us, knocking at the door, whispering in the quiet moments, tugging at our hearts. The question is not whether destiny will come. The question is whether you will be ready to move when it arrives. You may be sitting right now with a dream in your heart, a book you want to write, a business you want to start, a relationship you want to mend, a skill you want to learn, and you keep saying, tomorrow, next week, next year. But destiny doesn't wait. While you delay, someone else is writing that book, someone else is launching that business, someone else is learning that skill, not because they were more talented, but because they moved while you hesitated. There is a dangerous myth that life will wait until you are ready. But life has never worked that way. Life rewards the bold, the courageous, the ones who dare to take the first step, even when they cannot see the entire staircase. Ask yourself, how many dreams have died in the graveyard of procrastination? How many destinies were buried because people kept waiting for the right time? How many inventions, how many songs, how many movements never came to life because someone thought destiny would wait until they were comfortable? Destiny doesn't wait. It requires urgency. It demands that you look at the time you've been given and realize that every day is a gift, not a guarantee. When you wake up in the morning, the clock of destiny is ticking. The question is, what will you do with the hours you have? The truth is, most people are not defeated by lack of talent, lack of opportunity, or lack of resources. They are defeated by hesitation. They are defeated by waiting. They are defeated by the lie that tomorrow will always come. Destiny doesn't wait, and the longer you delay, the harder it becomes to move. The weight of inaction grows heavier every day. The regret of wasted time becomes a burden that cannot be lifted. But those who step forward, even trembling, even uncertain, even unprepared, they discover that destiny meets them halfway. Doors begin to open, resources begin to appear, to begin to gather, because destiny is not looking for perfection. Destiny is looking for motion. There is a lie we are told from the time we are young, the lie that only certain people are chosen to make history, that greatness is reserved for the wealthy, the powerful, the famous, or the privileged. But if you study history carefully, you will discover something remarkable. It was not kings and queens alone who shaped the destiny of nations. It was not presidents or prime ministers alone who changed the course of time. It was ordinary people who decided to rise above ordinary circumstances. Think about the farmer who refused to give up when famine came. His perseverance fed not only his family, but inspired his entire village to adopt new ways of farming, and that single decision transformed a community. Or think about the seamstress who one day grew tired of injustice and simply refused to give up her seat on a bus. Rosa Parks was not a politician. She was not wealthy. She was an ordinary woman. Yet that ordinary decision sparked a movement that shook the foundations of a nation. Ordinary people, when moved by courage, become extraordinary. It is not titles that make people great. It is conviction. It is not wealth that defines their impact. It is willingness to stand when everyone else remains seated. Every generation is moved forward not by those who wait for permission, but by those who believe their ordinary voice, their ordinary hands, their ordinary life can make an extraordinary difference. When we think of history, we imagine monuments, speeches, revolutions, and inventions. But behind every great invention was a man or woman who once sat at a desk, at a kitchen table, at a workshop late into the night, asking themselves if they could do something differently. The light bulb was not born in a palace. It was born in the quiet persistence of Thomas Edison's workshop after 1,000 failures. The airplane was not created by men with influence, but by two bicycle repairmen, the Wright brothers, who dared to believe that flight was possible. What does this teach us? That history does not ask if you are ready. History does not ask if you are famous. History only asks, will you try? Will you push forward when others stop? Will you act when others hesitate? We often underestimate the power of a single decision made by an ordinary person. A mother who decides to educate her daughter when society says she shouldn't. A teacher who decides to stay after hours to help one struggling child. A worker who decides to expose corruption at great personal risk. None of them wake up thinking, today I will change the world. They wake up thinking, today I will do what is right. And in doing what is right, they move the needle of history. There is something dangerous about waiting for heroes to rise. When you wait for someone else to lead, someone else to speak, someone else to sacrifice, you are silently excusing yourself from responsibility of your own role in history. But the truth is, the world is not changed by heroes descending from the sky. It is changed by men and women just like you. Ordinary people shape history because ordinary people understand struggle. They know hunger. They know pain. They know rejection, and when they choose to rise above those struggles, they become an example for millions more who are also fighting battles no one sees. Some of you think you are too small, too insignificant, too unqualified to make a difference. But the truth is, the greatest qualifications are not written on paper. They are written in character. Courage is greater than credentials. Integrity is greater than influence. Vision is greater than resources. Remember this, every movement that transformed society began with a person who looked just like you. They had fears, they had doubts, they had obstacles, yet they made a decision to act anyway, to speak anyway, to push forward anyway. Do not underestimate what can happen when an ordinary life is fueled by extraordinary belief. You may not have wealth, but you can have vision. You may not have power, but you can have courage. You may not have influence, but you can have persistence. These are the tools that shape history, and they are available to anyone who dares to use them. When people look back at history, they often see names written in books, statues built in cities, awards given to leaders, but those names represent the sacrifices of millions whose names were never recorded. For every great leader who stood on a stage, there were thousands of ordinary men and women behind them, working, believing, persevering, and refusing to let their generation be lost. Ordinary people shape history because history is lived every single day in ordinary choices. The choice to forgive when it is easier to hate. The choice to persevere when it is easier to quit. The choice to tell the truth when it is easier to stay silent. History is not only made in parliaments and courts, it is made in homes, in classrooms, in factories, in streets where men and women choose courage over fear. Greatness has never been born in comfort. It is not delivered in the cradle of ease or handed down as an inheritance of privilege. Greatness is conceived in struggle, nurtured in pain, and delivered through perseverance. Perseverance is the womb of greatness. Without it, dreams remain unborn, potential remains hidden, and destinies remain unfulfilled. Look at the story of every man and woman who left a mark on this earth, and you will find a common thread. They endured. They pressed forward when it was easier to quit. They pushed through rejection, failure, loneliness, and despair. They stood in the storm. They walked through the fire, and they refused to be broken. Perseverance is not glamorous. It does not look attractive on the outside. It is a long night when no one claps for you. It is early morning when no one is watching. It is the sweat that falls unseen, the tears that are wiped away in silence. Perseverance is staying in the fight when every part of you wants to surrender. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is perseverance. The Wright brothers did not simply wake up and fly. They endured years of ridicule and countless crashes before their invention took flight. Nelson Mandela did not shape South Africa by standing on a podium alone. He persevered through 27 years in prison, holding on to a vision that seemed impossible. This is the secret most people do not want to hear. The road to greatness is paved with disappointment. But perseverance transforms disappointment into discipline, and discipline produces destiny. The world often sees the glory, but it rarely sees the grind. The applause comes at the end, but greatness is born in the struggle. Perseverance is like a seed planted in the soil. At first, it looks dead, buried, forgotten, but underneath the surface, in the darkness, in the silence, life is forming, roots are growing, strength is being built. And when the time is right, that seed breaks through the ground into the light. That is greatness, and it is born only through perseverance. Think of a woman giving birth. The child does not come without labor. The womb contracts, the pain intensifies, and yet it is through that pain that life is delivered. In the same way, greatness is delivered through the labor of perseverance. Pain is not a sign that you are defeated. Pain is a sign that something powerful is being birthed in you. The problem is that many give up in the middle of labor. They quit when the pain comes. They walk away when the pressure builds. They stop pushing when they are just moments away from breakthrough. But those who persevere, those who endure to the end, they are the ones who hold greatness in their hands. Perseverance is not about speed. It is not about being the fastest or the strongest. It is about refusing to stop. A runner who keeps moving, even if slowly, will eventually finish the race, while those who quit will never cross the line. Life does not reward those who start strong, it rewards those who finish strong. You may not be the most talented, you may not be the most educated, you may not have the most resources, but if you have perseverance, you are unstoppable, because talent can fade, opportunities can close, and resources can run out. But perseverance keeps you moving forward until doors open again. Every failure you face is not the end of your story. Failure is the raw material of greatness. Rejection is not the conclusion, it is the redirection toward your destiny. The ones who rise are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who fall and get up again and again and again. Perseverance also builds character. It strips away arrogance. It teaches patience. It forges humility. It shapes resilience. Without perseverance, success destroys a man because he is not strong enough to carry it. But with perseverance, you are prepared to handle the weight of greatness. Look around at the world today. So many people want shortcuts. They want greatness without sacrifice, success without sweat, progress without pain. But shortcuts produce fragile victories, and fragile victories do not last. True greatness endures because it is born through perseverance. Perseverance is the womb of greatness because it teaches you how to hold on when everything around you tells you to let go. It is the unseen training ground where ordinary men and women are transformed into leaders, innovators, builders, and visionaries. It is the fire that refines your purpose until it is pure, until it is ready to be revealed. There is a temptation that lives deep within every human heart. The temptation to believe that someone else will fix what is broken, that someone else will carry the weight, that someone else will solve the problems we face. We point to governments, we point to leaders, we point to institutions, and we say, if only they would change, then life would be better. But the truth that transforms is this: responsibility is personal. Your life is not waiting on someone else's decision. Your future is not tied to someone else's action. The path before you is shaped by the choices you make today. Responsibility is not out there. It is here in your hands, in your decisions, in your courage to take ownership of your destiny. We have been conditioned to believe that rescue will come from the outside, that someone stronger, richer, smarter will arrive to lift us out of struggle. But no matter how much help comes from others, if you do not take responsibility for your own life, nothing will change. You cannot outsource your future. You cannot delegate your destiny. Think of the story of every man and woman who rose from obscurity to significance. Their circumstances were not favorable. Their environment did not hand them opportunities on a silver platter. But they made a choice. They took responsibility. They said, if I fail, it will be because of me. If I succeed, it will be because of me. That kind of ownership is the foundation of greatness. Responsibility is personal because your purpose is personal. No one else was born with your assignment. No one else carries your vision. No one else feels the fire in your heart the way you do. And because the assignment is yours, the responsibility is yours. If you refuse to carry it, the world will never see what you could have given. There is a generation right now waiting for politicians to fix everything, waiting for the economy to shift, waiting for technology to save them. But history shows us that transformation begins not in parliaments, but in people. Laws can shape the surface of society, but responsibility shapes the soul. When men and women take responsibility for their lives, for their families, for their communities, nations are changed. Responsibility is the difference between blaming and building. Blame says, it's not my fault, it's their fault. The building says, it may not be my fault, but it is my responsibility. Blame leaves you powerless, waiting for someone else to move. Responsibility empowers you to take action, to make decisions, to create change. Think of a young person born into poverty. They can look at their environment and say, I am trapped. I am a victim. I cannot rise because life is unfair. Or they can take responsibility and say, I did not choose where I was born, but I can choose where I am going. I cannot change the past, but I can create the future. That shift from blame to responsibility is the moment destiny begins to awaken. Responsibility also means discipline. It means you do not wait for someone to force you to do what must be done. You become the master of your own habits. You wake up early not because someone tells you to, but because you have chosen to. You save money, you learn, you grow, you sacrifice, not because circumstances demand it, but because you take responsibility for your own tomorrow. It is easy to complain. It is easy to say, life is unfair, the system is against me, the world is too difficult. But the people who rise are not the ones who complain. They are the ones who accept reality and then take responsibility to change it. Complaining wastes energy. Responsibility channels energy. Complaining feeds excuses. Responsibility feeds progress. We live in an age of entitlement. People want the reward without the responsibility. They want success without sacrifice. They want a position without preparation. But nothing of value comes without responsibility. To lead is to take responsibility. To grow is to take responsibility. To change your life is to take responsibility. The danger of avoiding responsibility is that your future slips quietly into the hands of others. When you refuse to decide, others will decide for you. When you refuse to lead your life, circumstances will lead you. And nothing is more painful than looking back years later and realizing you gave away your power because you refused to take responsibility. Responsibility is personal because no one else can live your life for you. People can encourage you, people can support you, people can teach you, but no one can walk in your shoes. No one can fight your battles. No one can carry your vision. That is yours and yours alone. And so responsibility becomes the dividing line. Some people wait for life to happen to them. Others take responsibility and make life happen through them. The first group watches history unfold. The second group shapes history with their choices. There is a truth many people run from, but it is the truth that unlocks destiny. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to drag you into your purpose. No one is coming to force you into discipline. You must push yourself. Life has a way of testing us, of pressing us, of weighing us down with obstacles and delays. And the easy response is to stop, to wait for someone else to come and lift us up. But the reality is, if you do not push yourself, you will remain stuck exactly where you are. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is not talent, not opportunity, not luck. The difference is who is willing to push. Pushing yourself means doing what is uncomfortable, what is difficult, what is inconvenient. It means waking up when you want to sleep. It means studying when you would rather play. It means working when no one is applauding, when no one sees, when no one is cheering. Pushing yourself is choosing discipline over desire, choosing sacrifice over comfort, choosing growth over ease. The champions you admire, the leaders you celebrate, the innovators you study, they were not carried to greatness. They pushed themselves there. They pushed through sleepless nights. They pushed through rejection letters. They pushed through criticism, through doubt, through fear. And because they pushed, they broke barriers. You must push yourself because no one else knows the weight of your dream. No one else feels the fire that burns in your chest. No one else sees the vision that keeps you awake at night. That dream is yours, that vision is yours, that assignment is yours. And if you do not push yourself, it will remain locked inside of you, buried with your excuses. Pushing yourself is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about refusing to settle where you are. It is about saying, this may be difficult, but I will not stop until I see results. Every push, every effort, every act of persistence builds momentum. And that momentum carries you further than talent alone ever could. Think of the athlete training long before the stadium lights come on. They push their body until it hurts, until it acts, until every muscle screams. Why? Because they know that in the moment of competition, their body will only give what they demand of it in training. Life works the same way. You cannot expect results from effort you never gave. You cannot reap where you never pushed. There will always be excuses. There will always be reasons to stop. There will always be voices telling you it's too hard, it's too late, it's too much. But you must silence those voices and push anyway. Push when you are tired. Push when you are discouraged. Push when you are alone. Because the very act of pushing is what transforms weakness into strength. You may think you don't have what it takes, but pushing yourself reveals capacities you didn't know you had. Hidden within you are reserves of strength, creativity, and resilience that will only be discovered when you demand more of yourself than you thought possible. Greatness is not found in comfort zones. Greatness is found in the stretch, in the push, in the moments where you choose to go further than you thought you could. Pushing yourself also means taking responsibility for your growth. Stop waiting for opportunities to fall into your lap. Stop waiting for someone to hand you the answers. Stop waiting for life to become easier. Opportunities are attracted to those who push. Doors open for those who knock and keep knocking. Breakthroughs come to those who refuse to stop pushing. Even in the darkest times, when nothing seems to be working, when progress feels invisible, keep pushing. Because pushing is not just about reaching the destination. It is about shaping who you become along the way. Every push is building your character. Every push is sharpening your focus. Every push is preparing you for the weight of success. You cannot cheat the process. You cannot skip the grind. You cannot outsource your effort. You must push yourself, push past fear, push past comfort, push past every excuse that tries to keep you where you are. The world will not hand you greatness. Life will not volunteer success. You must go after it with everything in you. So now, what have we discovered together? That destiny doesn't wait. It moves forward whether you are ready or not. That ordinary people, men and women just like you, shape the pages of history. That perseverance, though painful, is the womb where greatness is born. That responsibility is not the task of someone else. It is personal. It belongs to you. And that above all, if you are to see your vision come alive, you must push yourself because no one else will. This is not a theory. This is truth written into the story of every life that has ever mattered. The future is not reserved for the privileged. The future belongs to those who choose to rise, to endure, to take ownership, and to push beyond every excuse, every fear, every obstacle. You cannot wait for someone to rescue you. You cannot wait for permission. You cannot wait for the perfect moment. The time is now. The person is you, and the responsibility is in your hands. The world is not waiting for another hero to descend from the sky. The world is waiting for you to step into your calling, to unleash your gifts, to believe in your vision, and to move with courage. Remember this, no one is coming to save you. The strength you need is already inside you. The greatness you long for is already in your grasp. Push yourself, and you will discover that the power to change your life, and even to change the world, has been within you all along.